Hello, I'm Jeong. I'm very pleased to present our paper in IPCV IPCV workshop. The topic I'd like to talk today is GAN-Based Anomaly Detection in Imbalance Problems. Co-authors are Junbong and Hyomin Choi. Corresponding author is Professor Kisung. Anomaly detection is a study that detects outliers different from normal. Anomaly detection is applied not only to the manufacturing industry, but also to various fields such as CCTV, medical imaging, and social networks. But in general industrial side, the frequency of occurrence of anomaly samples is significantly less than that of general samples, causing frequent class imbalance problems. With this issue in mind, several methods are being tried to solve them. The picture below is an example. The white point is normal, the black point is an outlier, the red star is a unknowable outlier. In general, there are reconstruction-based methods using an autoencoder as anomaly detection method that have been actively studied until recently. For example, the children's paper of the autoencoder structure has a method of detecting anomalies by distributing geometrical deformed input via softmax. Another ARNet paper with autoencoder structure has an anomaly detection method that erases and restores the characteristic of the input image by applying the attribute erasing module. Finally, the GAN anomaly paper with GAN structure attempt to solve the problem using the latent vector of the input image, the latent vector of the reconstructed image, and the adversary loss. In this paper, the imbalance problem is defined as class imbalance, loss function scale imbalance, distribution bias for the learning model, and image and defect object size imbalance. And we present the solutions. First, we use the method of dividing the entire data into several groups by k-means clustering, and then sample the same number of data within each group. Second, to handle such loss function scale imbalance problems, weight used in loss combination are exploded by a grid search. Third, separating discriminator for normal data and for anomaly data is necessary to solve this problem. Fourth, we proposed a method generating image to make the total reconstruction error bigger, not affected by the size of the defect and the size of the entire image which contain the defect. We proposed a GAN-based generation model to implement anomaly detection. The network structure of the generator follows that of an autoencoder, and the discriminator consists of two identical structures to separately process the input data in case of it is normal or anomaly. In the training phase, the model learns how to minimize the reconstruction error that in case of normal data is input to the generator and maximize the reconstruction error in case of anomaly data are input. The loss used to minimize reconstruction error with normal image input is marked in blue color in 4 ways. Also, the loss used for maximizing the error with anomaly image input is marked in red color in 2 ways. In the inference phase, reconstruction error is used to detect anomalies as a criteria standard. The matrix maps in the right part of a picture above show that each value of the output matrix represents the probability of whether the corresponding image patch is real or fake. The way is used in PatchGAN, and it is totally different from patch loss we proposed in this paper. Same as this page, 6 kinds of loss functions, as shown in from error loss to ABC loss, are employed to train the generator. Among them, the 4 losses on the left side of the slide are those related to the normal input. Matching the blue line on the previous page of the presentation, network architecture will make it easier to understand. The other 2 losses are losses for anomaly input. Similarly, it is recommended to match the red line on the previous page of the presentation. Please refer to the paper for a detailed explanation of the formula. For benchmark datasets such as MNIST, Fashion MNIST, Cypher 10, and Cypher 100 have a class imbalance problems presenting imbalance of data sampling. To solve this, k-means clustering is performed on each class and data is sampled from each cluster in the distribution similar to the entire dataset. The real-world dataset surface defect of smartphone case is not only the number of normal and defective data are imbalanced, but also the frequency of occurrence different among the type of defects. For anomaly case of defect dataset, data is sampled using the same method as the benchmark, and a number of normal data is sampled, equal to the number of data combined with the three kinds of defect like scratch, stamp, and stain. Total loss functions consist of weight sum of each loss, but the scale imbalance exists among the loss functions. Although the scale could be adjusted in same range, the effect might be different, so we explore the weight of each loss using the grid search. In order to avoid huge and unnecessary search space, each weight of the loss function is limited from 0.5 to 1.5 range. The finally exploited loss function weights are shown in the table below. To understand how each loss affects GAN-based anomaly learning, we define cipher-tempered class as normal and the rest of the class as anomaly, and conducted an ablation study. In the table, the second place and seventh place show no significant difference in AURC. However, in the picture, you can see that the reconstructed image shows a significant difference. This is a quantitative result. In order to evaluate the performance of our proposed method, we conducted experiments on MNIST, Fashion MNIST, Cypher10, and Cypher100. For estimating recognition rate of the trained model, AURC is used. Four different datasets were used for evaluating the performance, and we achieved highly improved results from the previous state-of-the-art study in terms of the recognition rate and running stably on all the tested datasets. The table below right shows the result of applying smartphone defect data of real-world dataset to our proposed technique. This graph shows comparing the performance of state-of-the-art research studied on the average AURC, FPS, and number of model parameters used for inference. FPS is calculated by averaging a total of 10 processing times for 10,000 Cypher10 images. In the graph, the x-axis represents the FPS and the y-axis represents the recognition rate AURC. The area of the circle of each method indicated the number of model parameters used in inference. The graph shows that our method has AURC of 90.6%, which is 4% higher than that of AirNet, 86.6%, known to be the highest in the field. This is a qualitative result, visualization of experimental result on benchmark dataset and defect data. For each dataset, the original, reconstructed, and reconstructed error map are listed in order from the left of the image. So, if we are going to summarize our contribution to solve this imbalance problem, first, applying patch loss enables more stable learning about normal image reconstruction. Second, to solve the distribution bias problem, the discriminator of normal and anomaly data was separated and anomaly adversary loss was proposed. Third, we defined and solved the imbalance problem that exists in the experiment using our technique. Finally, experimental research demonstrates the effectiveness of our approach by showing the result of outperforming the current state-of-the-art approaches in terms of the average area under the ROC curve. As I conclude the presentation, we proposed a GAN-based model using two discriminators and compared it with the latest technique in the field of anomaly detection. Our model shows excellent results despite its small parameters. High FPS has demonstrated considerable competitiveness. Further study will aim to expand and improve to a video level that can be applied more to real life than to a frame level. Thank you for listening.